Hello, welcome back to Well, Now I'm Curious. I'm Alex.
And I'm Curtis.
And this episode is about an urban legend and one that gave me the chills from more or less from the second they found this child. It's a story from a mystery forum from around 2015 where he used shared an incident involving his 3-year-old nephew. The story gained a much wider audience after David Pallades featured it in his videos and books. Alright, so you don't know who this guy is, do you, Kurt?
Never heard of him.
So just to give you a quick background on him, he's a former police officer who he now dedicates his work to investigating and writing about missing 411 cases. And missing 411 cases relate to people who go missing mainly in and around national parks in unusual and mysterious circumstances.
So so the child became a copper.
No, he's investigated. So he found this on a forum.
And since then,
And
he's pursued.
he's found the people involved, he's interviewed them, and this is the tale as it goes. But I do need to also point out that it does come from an online forum post, so it hasn't been independently verified. So we have to take it as an urban legend rather than a confirmed event, even though he has written about it in his book, and his books are widely known. Okay, so here's the story. So the family set up camp near a remote creek flowing through Mount Shasta. Have you ever heard of Mount Shasta?
No, whereabouts is that?
So that is, well, I'm going to tell you. So Mount Shasta is a volcanic peak. It's in California, I think.
Active or unactive? No.
Well, I'm guessing unactive. I'm sure it said.
Oh, they call it dormant.
Yeah. So it's a volcanic peak which is renowned for its UFO sightings, cult lore, bizarre disappearances, and some even claim that there is an underground city beneath it. Did you know that? Well, you won't know because you've never heard of Mount Shasta.
Well, no, but obviously, across the Americas, there is a lot of south, central,
Let me just
and
check.
most likely northern. There is a lot of underground civilizations in there that they've found ancient.
Yeah. It is in Northern California. I was right. It is. I knew I'd read that.
Which is obviously it's a close state to the South Americas, isn't it? So
yeah. So anyway, this family set up their camp. Around 6 p.m, in a moment of distraction, the young boy just completely disappeared. So, as you can imagine, because we've got children, panic set in. The family searched, they called for him. And then when they had no luck, they decided they weren't going to waste any more time. They'd just get the authorities involved to search for him. So for 5 agonising hours, local sheriff's deputies and members of the US Forest Service searched and combed the dark woods. They used tracking dogs to aid the search. And then finally at 11 p.m, or roughly 11 p.m, searchers finally made a breakthrough and they found the boy lying face down in a dense thicket. He was unharmed, but he was just lying there. So obviously the family's
just face down.
Face down. Well, it said face down in the sources that I
So
read.
they were all camping, and he went missing on his own.
On his own, just completely disappeared. Now, one source I read, it was the sister who realised he'd gone. This is what I mean when you find them on forums, that the information gets a little bit skewed. But yeah, they turned the backs for a few minutes, and he just disappeared from the campsite.
Right,
yeah,
okay.
which can happen. So they found him anyway. But the first red flag here is the thicket where he was found. It was located next to a main trail where the search and rescue volunteers had already walked up and down multiple times over those 5 hours, and not one of them had seen him. No dogs had sniffed him out or anything, and then suddenly he was there.
And how did they find? Who found him? Does it say?
It was just it doesn't
clarify.
say. It just says that they found him. Now, according to the original account, searchers, as I've just said, had already checked the area several times, which does lead people to question how he wasn't found sooner, especially with the dogs, obviously.
How long was he missing for?
About 5 hours.
Oh.
How
far? The other interesting thing, does it say how far away he was from where they were?
I think he was quite close to where they were.
Oh.
Yeah. But again, I didn't find anything to verify it, but I do think it was quite close to where he was. So fast forward to 3 weeks later. So he's unharmed. There's nothing wrong
No
with him.
damage,
He's
no
absolutely fine.
trauma.
Yeah.
I didn't say
No.
anything.
No, nothing about that. So fast forward to 3 weeks later, and this is made me go cold. This. So 3 weeks later, he's talking with his grandma, who as I said before, he refers to her as Kappy, and the little boy told her that he said, "I don't like the other Kappy." So she then was, Kurt's looking at me confused. So she then was a little bit confused, a little taken aback. So she asked him who he meant. And the tale he told her was quite chilling. So he claimed that when he stepped into woods 3 weeks prior, he saw his Kappy, his grandma, waving at him from the tree line. Yeah, so as a 3-year-old, he made his way over to he believed to be his grandma, his Kappy.
It's like an it, innit?
Yeah. So, but the way he described her was quite unsettling. So he said she looked like his Kappy, his grandma, but something else wasn't quite right. The way she moved, the way she spoke, it all felt a little bit robotic. So then she took him to a cave. Inside, there were spiders, handbags, and guns, which is already a strange combination of things for a 3-year-old to describe.
Spiders.
Yeah, well, they're in a cave, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's going to be full of spiders. But the handbags and the guns, that's a bit weird for a child to associate with caves, don't you think?
Well, yeah, what? Yeah.
Yeah. So then he said, a couple of sources said she climbed up a ladder for this, and then other sources don't mention the ladder. That her head either glowed or the light how it hit her made her head glow like a robot. And then he also said that there were other beings or figures or robots in the cave, but they were completely frozen. And according to some of the other sources I read, he described them as shiny people that didn't move. So that's eerie.
Shiny people that didn't move.
Yeah, he said he could see them.
And this was inside the cave.
Inside the cave, there was.
So the robotic.
So they were either.
Kappy, like.
Would you know what
Kappy
I thought?
took him to the cave where these silver things were in the cave, but they didn't move.
He didn't say they were silver. He said they were
shiny.
Just shiny.
Right,
So,
okay.
do you know what I think? They were, like either mannequins, because mannequins have a shine on them, don't they? Or wax figures or something, and maybe the handbags were.
But if you're deep enough in the cave, is there any light? So that's another thing to think of.
Yeah. So,
So
that's why some people, I think, say that she climbed a ladder for the light to shine on her face. But either way you look at it, for a 3-year-old, that's pretty terrifying.
Just about at 3, it's not something that you just...
No. And then allegedly, he also said that she told him cosmic secrets, claiming that she was an alien from outer space and that they'd planted him inside his mother's tummy.
Okay.
Another claim that's quite bizarre is that she became, this is really weird, she became really, really frustrated with him when he wouldn't defecate on a piece of sticky paper. So
what? She
wanted
this thing
him
wanted feces on a piece of paper.
Yeah, on a sticky piece of paper.
So was she examining him or something?
Well, I don't know. I mean, so he refused to do it. He wouldn't do it. So she became really, really frustrated with him.
Sounds like a thingy version of what she called in the UK. That doctor who used to Fat versus Skinner, who used to like check people's poos and that.
Yeah, I don't.
What's she called? You know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you mean.
She's well known for it. It's very strange.
Ew.
It's an alien version of her.
She might be an alien. She's checking people's poo for no reason. So because she becomes so frustrated with him, she ordered him to go outside the cave and wait near a bush until somebody found him. So this was the end of his tale. So as he's telling his real grandma Kappy this, he also pointed out to her, and I think this is quite important, that the fake Kappy had the same face, the same feet, and the same hair as his real Kappy. And some people have argued that this could have been a hologram and that's why her face lit up. But others have argued that it is just a 3-year-old making sense of something that I didn't really understand. But however you dress it up, it's fucking creepy, don't you think?
Oh yeah, it's creepy. It's strange. It's odd.
It is odd.
It's
And it gets even more creepy because...
but the thing that shines out to me is the fact that she wanted him to crap on a piece of paper.
Yeah, I know.
A Gillian McKeith alien. or it turned into Gillian McKeith and wanted to examine his poo.
And that's how it's tricked people to get people to poo.
But no, it is the thing that is very strange as well is the fact that a 3-year-old, not saying that he's lying or telling, but to be able to explain this
in detail. I don't think the detail is as detailed as it's come out. I think they've got. I'm guessing because a 3-year-old can't give detail like this. I'm guessing they've pieced together
what
bits of what he's told them, and this is what they've come up with. That's my guess. I mean, it could be that detailed, but I think it'd be pretty clever if he'd done it that detailed as a 3-year-old. So anyway, he's finished telling his real Kappy this story, and then the hairs on the back of her neck stand up. Because what she finds more unsettling is her own experience that happened roughly 1 year prior to this.
Was that in the same place?
So she went camping on Mount Shasta with a friend, and it was in very close proximity to where her grandson had disappeared.
Mm.
And that night, she claims to have seen glowing eyes in the wood around the campsite. And throughout the night, the eyes kept appearing around the campsite. I've read it was glowing red eyes. So despite the best efforts to shine the flashlights on the eyes, to find out what it was, it just kept disappearing. So they put it down to being a deer, but obviously...
What if they're like skinwalkers or shapeshifters?
Well, exactly.
Because a skinwalker's not just like a wolf, is it? I know it's from a native Indian culture, but a skinwalker's basically a native Indian's shapeshift, aren't they? Or am I wrong?
I think a skinwalker is something that can just transform into different shapes. It can take the shape of different
it's a native
things. I don't think
version of a...
Yeah.
It's not a werewolf as such.
It's not a specific thing.
It can shift into different entities and
things,
creatures. It could be a skinwalker.
Could be.
And then that sends you down. There's many things it can be, can't it?
Yeah.
And America's that vast, and the wilderness, it's that rural in areas. You just don't know what's in there, do you?
No. So his grandma and her friend at this point, they're a bit creeped out, but they try and brush it off as like a deer or something, just something like an animal of some kind.
Well, you try and put an answer to things, don't you?
Yeah.
Shrug it off like it's not anything. Don't worry.
And then they decide to retreat. Well, she's in a tent. This is what doesn't make sense to me. She retreats to her tent, and her friend who she was with, he was in his camper. So if you'd seen these eyes around your campfire and you were a bit creepy, you'd be in the camper, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you wouldn't be in a tent.
But anyway, she was in the tent, he was in the camper.
Well, she's obviously... but if she thought it was a deer, then she's obviously not...
All I can think is that they're like regular campers and they're not easily spooked, because if that were me, I'd have just got in the car.
What are you saying? They were regular campers?
I don't know. I'm saying they must be if they weren't that frightened.
Well, that's the thing. And because if you were that startled and, you'd be in the van and you'd be on the way. You'd pack up and go, wouldn't you? So obviously they didn't think anything of it, and it's obviously just a deer or whatever.
Yeah.
It could have been a bear, anything.
Yeah. So the next morning, when Kappy and her friend wake up, they're both outside on the dirt, out of the sleeping
Face
bags.
down.
Well, it doesn't say if they're face down or not. He's not in his camper. He's on the floor in the dirt. She's not in a tent. She's not in a sleeping bag. She's out on the floor in the dirt. Both of them claim that they felt very, very poorly. She felt a pain on the back of her neck or the back of her head. I've read multiple sources, so it could have been either. And when she reached back to touch, there was a puncture wound. And she could also see puncture marks on her friend's neck as well. So at this point, they both just assumed they've been bitten by a poisonous spider, which caused some kind of hallucination, which then in turn caused them to both end up outside of the tents or campers. Now, after hearing her grandson's story, she now wonders, has something taken some of her DNA, I suppose, and cloned her? But then how would it know? But then again, does time even exist in this thing's world?
Well, even in this world, time is only a man-made construct, in it. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. So, it's just a bit weird that in the same place that a grandson goes missing, 12 months prior to that, this weird event happens to her and she sees these
but
weird
it
eyes
knows what to turn into for the boy to
for the little
recognise her.
boy,
So
yeah.
obviously, but that's the thing. So is
Does
it?
that not make you just go cold? It's give me goosebumps, like,
No, it's interesting.
it's
So
creepy.
if so, basically, as the skinwalker or whatever it is, let's call it a skinwalker. So as a skinwalker, extracted its DNA to
Yeah.
its oh, could you to its database,
Yeah, yeah.
so it can shift into anything it touches. It kind of scans or it
Yeah.
takes a piece of, so it can turn
And
into
that might have
it.
been why it needed his poo.
But well, the poo is the only thing you'd like to think of is examination of nutrition, because it's waste, isn't it? What else do you gain from
I
poo?
wonder why it made us so angry that I wouldn't poo on it. Just get out the
Well,
cave.
it might be the way it eats. I don't know. You don't know, do
Ew.
you? There's literally like endless possibilities, and it's just very odd.
It's a bit
But why on a piece of paper?
a sticky piece of paper.
Sticky piece of paper.
I don't know. Anyway, when this story hit the internet, it spread like wildfire because obviously it's a bit of a creepy one. It's a bit unexplainable, so we don't know what happened and what really happened. We only have a child's account to go off. Skeptics will argue that a toddler's association with his grandma, somebody who he loved, her belongings, a bedroom, a handbag, a closet, etc., could become mashed up, as distortion between comfort and fear because his physical surroundings, obviously, he's in the dark. He's in an area he doesn't know. He hasn't got anybody around him who he knows, so he was obviously terrified. Others say that it is generations of unexplainable folklore that takes place in these areas. Well, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I don't. Well,
Because
the weirdest thing is the fact that the only thing that you can put two and two together that you can compare is the fact that two people in the same family have experienced something, not the same, but because they never got led to a cave, they never was as far as they weren't.
You don't know if his grandma wasn't taken into the cave while she were passed out. We don't know because they were just left in the dirt.
That's it. Yeah, you don't know. This is the thing. The possibilities on it. It's weird how there's so many stories in rural areas and abandoned places that none of it makes sense.
No.
It's like, why is everything such a mystery?
I know. Well, for generations as well, local legends do claim that there are a highly advanced subterranean race living deep inside the mountains. So, that could also explain his description of going into a cave. Going back to the skeptics' explanation of him finding comfort in his grandma's things, guns, but we don't have guns over here, but that's pretty normal, isn't it, in America? To have guns, so maybe that. But how do you explain the shiny people?
Well, it's an amendment, isn't it?
Did his grandma have mannequins?
That's me. Unless was he like, was he imagining?
Well,
was he just like?
What did he
playing?
just fall asleep and he dreamt the whole thing?
Well, but sleepwalk and
sleepwalk. You don't know, do you?
Sleepwalk. What was
Sleepwalk.
Sleepwalk.
Sleepwalked.
Sleepwalked.
Yeah.
Sleepwalk?
Psychologists offer an opinion where they argue that 5 hours alone in the freezing wilderness with hardly any light, it's obviously, like I said before, that is traumatic on a 3-year-old's brain. And then when the brain enters survival mode, it can hallucinate comforting figures to prevent total panic.
Yeah, of course.
But again, she wasn't very comforting. He said she was cold and
rude,
robot-like, and
a bit.
He knew it wasn't his
emotionless.
Kappy. Yeah, a bit emotionless. He knew it wasn't his Kappy. So, yeah, whether it was a trick of the mind or whether this toddler truly did experience something unexplainable remains one of the biggest campfire stories in recent years.
I think the fact that it was close by. If he was older,
Yeah.
it would be. It might bring a bit more information and.
Do you know what, though? Right. I've listened to, I've done a lot of research into some of these missing 411 cases. A lot of them are in the Appalachia, the ones that I've listened to. And a lot of them are young kids, and they all say, a lot of them, though, say something took them and kind of like looked after them through it.
Well, are they easy to? It's not like they're easy to abduct in a sense.
I don't know, but I've also.
Because children don't really. Children
But a lot of these
they're full of love. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but a lot of the ones that are found, they say that something found them. Like one of the ones I read, and when I can find it, I'll do the research on it to obviously put more context into it. But one of them, it was a little girl, and she saw another little girl. She knew this little girl wasn't real, but this little girl made her get onto like a little like platform in the water to keep her safe from predators. And, things like that.
So aided her?
Aided her, yeah. And then there's been another one where a little boy said a bear looked after him, and he was miles and miles and miles away from where.
But that's takes you back, though, because children don't see bad in things. It's our programming that teaches us just to think and steer us the way we are.
Yeah.
But children have got nothing but love and even no fear, because all that's instilled into children by society and parent programming. So
well, look at ours when he was little. Everybody was his friend.
Well, yeah,
even though he didn't know.
And that's why children are so innocent, because they'll see the good in the baddest thing or the baddest person, in the baddest man or woman.
Yeah.
If it's the beautiful things, aren't they? Children, the precious. And even animal fit predators can sense that. And look after that. Like zoos, how many times have children fell into zoos? Don't wrong, the odd one's been attacked, but where gorillas have looked after them
and put them somewhere safe,
and give them back, and it's.
Well, I found this case horrifying because the visions I had of that thing pretending to be his nan.
It just strikes me as because it was in a forest as well. But when you look at
it's so creepy that.
I know it's a Stephen King, but it's got to come from somewhere, isn't it?
So it's I've gone cold. Look at that. I've got goosebumps.
So Stephen King's. So the series we watched, which was what's the town called? Is it Derry? Derry.
Is it Derry?
It's Derry in it. I think it's Derry, and obviously you find out that this alien.
Oh, it was an alien.
It was an alien like spirit, like entity, in like a meteorite that crashed, and they trapped it within the forest, didn't they?
Yeah.
So basically, if you went into the forest, it would lure you in.
Yeah.
And then it would feed on your fear and attack you.
Yeah.
But if the children have got no fear, then they can't be attacked.
Yeah, I can't get my head around the poo though.
It's just strange.
I just do not understand that.
Just reminds me of Gillian McKeith.
Anyway, that's it for this week's episode. It was a shorter one, just because it was a bit of folklore. Well, not folklore. Urban legend.
It's a small case.
It's a small case.
And there's not too, well, from what you've told me, there's not too many variables to go off.
It's really difficult.
You're limited,
as well.
aren't you?
It's difficult when you get these off forums and things because you can't verify certain details. And although he did write a book, not he as in the boy, although Paulides wrote, put it into his 411 books and things, it's still really difficult to get a lot of the information correct. So I'm that's just full transparency. I'm going off as much information as I could find that was verifiable. I've tried to put into this podcast.
Maybe we can revisit this and maybe go into his book and see if we can get any more information.
There are a lot of cases. He has done so many cases. He's done a lot. Yeah, he does a lot. Some people think he's full of shit.
Well, it's just
and other
perspective,
people
isn't
stand
it?
by him 100%. Without having read his books, I don't know, but there are a lot of interesting cases. Yeah.
And we'll just keep chipping away, and
yeah,
hopefully they'll that we will hopefully get to one where there is like quite a lot of messages and information where you can kind of paint an accurate picture.
Yeah, definitely.
That because some things do get missed, don't they?
Well, yeah, they do. I've got a few interesting ones like this that I would like to cover. Like I say, and maybe the next ones because this one's been such a short episode. Maybe I'll compile a few into one episode. Make it a bit longer of an episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, it creeped me out. And apparently, I've tried not to look at any of them, but there are images that are super, super spooky. So yeah, I'm glad I didn't see any of them
around this case.
And I hope they don't pop up on my news feeds because it'll scare me.
What around this case?
This case, yeah.
Well, the pictures...
Nothing that I found gave any images, or if it did, obviously I was listening in my ears, so I didn't see it. But yeah, apparently there's some terrifying images. Obviously not actual, like not images taken from the actual event.
So
they're artists' impressions of what he saw.
Right. Okay.
But again, still, if you see that, it gives you a
that's
terrifying...
another person's perspective. On a perspective, isn't it?
A perspective on a perspective. So we hope you liked this week's episode. Again, sorry it was short. If you got to the end, leave us what emoji? Did they do a tent emoji? Leave us a granny emoji.
A granny in a tent.
a granny in a tent.
Or a campfire.
Or a campfire. Anything. But yeah, like and subscribe if you've enjoyed it, and share if you feel the need to. And thank you for listening.
See you in the next one.
See you next time.